Hello, I'm Todd Phillips, the editor of Canadian Auto Dealer. We're here today with Matt Gould. He's the co-founder of the HTI Institute. He's a leadership coach and an author, and he's going to join us today to talk about some of the leadership challenges that dealerships and the members of their teams have had during COVID and what they can do to come out of it and maybe have a stronger recovery. So, Matt, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Todd. It's unprecedented times, and leadership is definitely getting tested with all the changes going on out there.
Well, that's exactly what we want to explore today. And I know you've written extensively and you work with dealers. And so, as you say, this is totally unexpected. Nobody could have seen it coming. There's no playbook for this. There's no leadership roadmap. I'm sure there'll be lots of books written about how to respond to crisis, that sort of thing. But it's a very unique set of circumstances. So right off the top, what advice would you give to dealers and their teams just about how to steer the ship in these uncertain times?
Yeah, I would say that steering the ship, be ready to have this concept that everyone is a leader in your dealership. So the responsibility is not just on the dealer principal. It's not just on the sales manager. Because as we talked about prior to this interview, no one caused COVID inside the dealership. And a lot of the dealer principal, well, no one's been through this type of thing before. So the answers to how do we move forward are going to come from the team. They're going to come from the sales rep. They're going to come from the service advisor. We need new ideas, and dealerships need new ideas as to how to respond. So if we take the responsibility off of the dealer principal solely, so many ideas can be generated when there's a philosophy that everyone is a leader.
Well, another thing that you're right about as well is the idea that no one is to blame. I guess try to get away from sort of the blame game style of leadership and problem solving. So obviously, as you say, nobody. This was just thrust on all of us. Really, we're all adapting to it. So how would you explain that, extending beyond COVID, even to things like sales performance or even a personnel issue? How do you get away from that sort of management style, sort of by punishment or punitive action, into more of a kind of solving problems?
Yeah. The auto industry is about performance. And during times like COVID and even beyond COVID, we're on this monthly cycle of perform. And when sales are challenged and results and key performance indicators are lower than expected, there can be a mentality of who to fault. And, WTF, like what is going on with the results? And managers or people of quote unquote senior positions look down the ranks to blame their people. And the cost, Todd, of that, the inefficiency, the aftermath, all the time and energy that goes to now building that person back up. We believe you can eradicate all of that inefficiency, and rather than blame an individual, take shared responsibility for, okay, these are the results that we're having. And we write about, so what now? So what can we do now together? What can you do, Todd, as the editor? What can I do as the guest? And what can we do together? What are the new sets of actions we can take to overcome the results that we're having? So rather than pinpoint it on one person, we talk about what's in your target. Is it a human, or is it the actions that you collectively need to take to thrive to improve the results? And we're just seeing so much success with dealers who, rather than blame team members, they take a shared responsibility approach to, so what do we need to do now to overcome the feedback that's in our results? Because really, results are just feedback. They're telling us, are we on track or are we off track?
Well, one of the things I've been struck by in the midst of this pandemic, I've interviewed dozens of dealers in a format very much like this, just how calm they were, how composed, how they were focused on the future. They were focused on, their team, their community. I could see the leadership style and why they got to the position they were. Now, coming out of this, though, is there a new leadership style needed to help reassure people, their customers, their staff, that everything's fine, they can come back? I mean, does there need to be a different kind of style going forward as we're trying to rebuild, rather than, as you say, maybe more the sales-driven approach that has been so prominent in the industry?
Yeah, I believe there is, and we're seeing some success with dealers where there's a we call it relationship-based leadership. And you mentioned some of the dealer principals that you've interviewed. What I've noticed about them is they're taking 100% responsibility for the 50% of the situation they can control. Mm-hmm. So we cannot control COVID. What we can control is our response to it. What we can't control is what's happened. What we can control is what we're going to do about it now going forward. And so, we call it the art of relationship-based leadership. And it's not about being nice. It's not about being liked. It's about taking full responsibility for your 100% of any situation. What are you responsible for? And also sharing that responsibility, Todd. We talked at the beginning around everyone is a leader. Mm-hmm. So getting this mindset that we are all 100% responsible, or we can be up to 100% responsible for our actions, thoughts, and behaviors. And so, yeah, I believe that a relationship-based leadership approach where we are all in this together. What will you do? What will I do? And together, what will we do to win, to thrive, to generate a great experience for our customers?
That's great advice. And actually, if people wanted more help, more advice, maybe tell us a little bit more about the HTI Institute and your book. I know there's a book available on Amazon. Tell us a bit about where the dealers might be able to reach out and contact you to do some reading, or perhaps to learn more about it in terms of direct coaching, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we're the HTI Institute. So thanks for asking about that. You can visit us at htiinstitute.com. And we have leadership academies where HTI stands for a few things. One is Hearts Together Inspire. And if that's too new age for dealers and the industry, it can also stand for How Teams Improve. And so we're really in the business of working with teams to unify how they go to market, how they interact with each other, and actually how they navigate conflict and challenges. There's so much waste and inefficiency and turnover that can happen with top-down leadership. And we're an institute that really focuses on how together we can win.
That's great. And as well, the book, I guess, is available on Amazon as well?
Yeah, it's called Lead From Your Heart, The Art of Relationship-Based Leadership. It's available on Amazon. An audio version's coming out for the dealers and the salespeople who don't like to read. I'm one of those, even though I'm a co-author of the book with Tanya Schechter. Yeah, the book's available, and we're available. Really, we'd love to have conversations with dealers about their people challenges and how to get unified and how to take whatever's happening to us, whatever's happening in the industry, whatever the things that are out there that we can't control, Todd, mm-hmm. and putting in a so what now mentality. So what do we do now, and how do we do it together?
It's interesting, we talked earlier about some of the dealers that you work with, and some of them I admire and respect very much, and I'm familiar with. But it's interesting, even at the top of their game, they're not afraid to have a coach to help them get better. And I think that's a testament to why they keep improving and keep improving their operations. So thanks for being that support to the industry, and thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. And yeah, coaching brings a perspective, right? Often we're not sure which way to go, and coaches don't necessarily tell you where to go, but they create the space and the time to have generative conversations, to get really curious, and new outcomes and new choices can come from that. So yeah, the dealers, they're a great group of people, and even Stanley Cup winning teams have coaches.
Oh, there you go. That's some more good insights. Thanks, Matt, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Signing off.